So I think I might have made a little bit of a mistake with my disc golf bag. What I've done is I've reduced my bag down from 19 molds down to 12. We're at Woodland Park Disc Golf Course in Columbia, Tennessee to play around with what I've changed in this bag to find out if I didn't build my bag the wrong way. Hole 1, place 424, big downhill, right to left moving shots. So we're playing shorts to reds today, but this is still a long course with a lot of different shot shapes, which is why I thought it was going to be the perfect course to test out the changes we made to our bag to see if we didn't make a mistake when we were building it. So we're going to go with our Onyx, try and put it out there. We're going to do 2 off the top. We're not really keeping an official score, but we're going to try and shoot at least 3 down over the front nine. Not bad. 2 off the top, and go 1 more Onyx. Try and put it on a touch more flex. See if we can't get a little extra distance. Yeah, it's got to push though. And big skip. Whew. First drive was the best. Leaves us, oh, I don't know, 45, 50 feet. Start out with a nice long circle 2 look. Oh, not bad, just needed to trust the angle a little more. Not like that either. All right, tap that in, start out with a par. So this video comes as a result of the last 2 videos I've posted, which was my in the bag and then a challenge I did out at Crockett trying to shoot a perfect round. If you haven't watched those are linked down below. They give a lot of context to this video that I'm shooting here today. Now, when I filmed that in the bag, I realized that I had 19 different molds in my bag, which is a lot. And at face value, doesn't really bother me. But the next week when I went out to Crockett to try and shoot a perfect round with my bag, I realized that there were a lot of holes where I was really second guessing which discs to throw. And when I circled back to try and hit those holes on loop 2, which makes sense if you watch those videos, quite a few times I actually ended up changing my disc selection, which I think showed the lack of confidence I had in what I was actually throwing. Hole 2 playing 326. We're not playing to the blue basket right ahead, but to the reds, and there is a manual on that tree just left of that blue basket. So we're gonna go with the Athena, try and hit it flat hard, right over the top of that blue basket, and then get the solid fade to the left. See if we can't get up there for the birdie. Oh, just fell out of my hand. Early released that so bad. Thankfully it was into the ground, so we haven't missed the Mando, but jeez. So we still have to make the Mando, which means I think we need the big forehand cut roller to try and get around that tree and then get as far up the hill as we can. We got the super overstable machete, just try and lay this down to get through that gap. Cut, cut. Oh, I love it. Get back. Oh, perfectly curls up onto the grass, stays in bounds. That worked out so much better than I thought it was. Leaves us a nice 40-footer to save par. 10 paces off the basket, putting us right at the edge of the circle, barely snuck back in bounds here into the grass. Big par save putt. Stay up. Front cage. Make the correction? Nope. Nope. Not gonna do it. Ooh, bummer to take the bogey. This is not the kind of hole worth taking a bogey on. I will say it is 38 degrees out right now, a little cold, and the ground is wet. So I'm gonna have to use my towel a little bit more. You can see on that second putt especially, it just slipped right out of the hands. That's gonna be a factor. So let's talk about this bag that I brought out for this round and the experiment that I'm trying today. What I've done is I've reduced my bag down from 19 molds down to 12. I looked for slots that I could really consolidate and find 1 mold in different plastics to cover different stability. So some of the big changes, we've gone back to the Buzz because I have a lot of more plastic variations in that mold than I do the Hex, and we've also taken out the Uplink as well as the Archive. So I have 3 Buzzes in the bag now, a Flippy, a Straight, and an Overstable. I also went ahead, just for trying it this round, and switched out the Buzz OS to this deflector. That's just because I wanted to try this disc out a little more. Now I've also taken out the Proxy out of my bag and just gone with a baseline Envy that's pretty straight, so there's a change there. And then what I've done is I put the Undertaker back in the bag in place of the Falk and the Lotes, because once again, I only have those discs in 1 plastic. The Undertaker I have a bunch of. So we have a Flippy, a Straight, and a slightly overstable Undertaker. Similar with the Raptor, I've added a flippier or a straighter Raptor into the bag, and then I have a couple Onyxes, and then we've gone back to the Graces and got rid of all the other distance drivers. So Wild Honey, not in the bag, DD3, not in the bag, Time Lapse, not in the bag, 3 Graces instead. Once again, flippy, straight, more overstable, and then we still have our utility Machete, we still have our Zones and our Berg, and then we're still putting with the EV7 Penrose. So that's what we're trying out here today. We're gonna see what our decision making looks like if we have a lot more confidence off the tee and the disc we're actually throwing. It'll be really interesting to see whether or not mold minimalism matters to me or not, because for me, honestly, the jury's still out. So let me know in the comments below what you think about mold minimalism, whether or not it matters, whether or not I even should care how many molds I have in my bag, and how many you bag as well. Hole 3 in our first par 4, 370 feet, but pretty steeply uphill to that red basket type, all the way back in the corner. We're gonna go with our first run Grace, which are a flippy Grace, just try and bite off as much distance as we can to give ourselves a clean look into the green, see if we can't tap in the birdie, get back to even, get this round back on track. That looks great, especially if it hooks up and finishes. Oh, I love it. I love it. I should have a really nice approach shot. Not too far, very happy with that shot. Super happy with this drive. Maybe this is a little bit of a soft par 4 because we do have an eagle look here. We're probably 70 short, but definitely a jump putt up the hill. I mean, at the very least, this should be a birdie tap in. Yeah, all right, not an eagle. Absolutely pinned it though. Birdie tap in, back to even, back on track. Hole 4 in our second par 4, 300-foot par 4 here, but it is a dog leg right after that kind of split tree right there in the woods. So we're going with the Captain's Raptor on the forehand. We're just gonna try and get as much of a skip around that tree right as we can. Try and stay in the middle so we have a clean look. Oh, wow, sawed it off so high. Could not have been a worse shot. I mean, we might still have a little gap, but that was just atrocious. We do thankfully have a gap. You can just see the red basket maybe poking through out there. So we're gonna go through this left side with our zone on the forehand, just try and get it moving and pushing with a nice little skip into the basket. Get off it. Ah, yanked it. Yanked it the whole way. Well, we don't have the forehand game today, my goodness. Thankfully, these short par 4s are very forgiving. We do still have a long jump putt look at the birdie, maybe 80 feet. Once again, not quite it. Tap that in for the par though. Mitigated the damage, let's move on. Hole 5, super short par 3. You can maybe see the red basket just through the trees that way, but the tunnel is here on the left side. So we're gonna go with the Machete. It's another forehand, unfortunately, but we just got to get down there and get a big flare skip, moving left to right. But the goal is just to hit this gap. Yeah, get off that tree. I think that's too long. That is way too long, almost to the blue basket. 16 paces off the basket. Kind of a narrow gap here as well. It is a slightly downhill putt. Definitely makeable, but not an easy one. That's short. Oh, man. The line on that first one in particular was so good, but I knew it was short out of the hand. Bummer. Take the par. We are running out of time to get to our 3 down. We're now even through 5, which means we got to get 3 of the next 4 to be 3 through 9. Well, we've made it back to the infamous hole 6. If you watched my video shooting out the Lotes and the Undertaker, you remember I lost my Undertaker way left somewhere in that forest. My favorite disc, my first ace disc, that one hurt. So this is my first time back at this hole, at this course actually, since that video, since I lost that disc. But that's all right, we're gonna get the birdie here. Start fresh, new memory, happy memory. We're gonna go with our overstable Buzz, this purple Z Buzz, 336 feet downhill to the red basket, just beyond the blue one. We're gonna put this out just a little to the right, try and hit it flat, and then let it finish in. I like it if it gets there. Drop, 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 drop. Ooh, big skip. That's a little bit of a bummer. That's gonna be pretty far. I wonder if I should have gone with my straight Buzz, actually. The distance ended up being really good. It just came in on a little too much hyzer, and skip. So maybe let's try this straight buzz, just this beat in ESP buzz. Try and hit it just maybe a similar line even. Okay, well that one's a little higher. It's gonna dig in a little more. Let's see if it still skips. Just sit. Yeah, a little closer. Once again, still not perfect. And then actually, since we threw those two, let me just show you this flippy buzz as well. This one I actually got, shout out to Trash Panda and their holiday disc shop. Some very kind person sent me this buzz, and it is money. So, I'll show you the difference in flight. Try and hit this one similar. Okay, a little lower, but you can see the slow flip up the whole way. Actually, ironically enough, almost the same result with all three of those discs, but I got there in three different ways. One was really overstable, one was just too high installed, and the other I just started too inside. But alas, 3 buzzes, 3 stabilities. Let's go make a putt. So off camera, I just went ahead and threw my 2 MVs and my 2 zones on this same hole, and I absolutely parked it, which leads me to believe that the form changes that I'm making right now are actually making a big difference, because before I would have never thought I could have gotten a putter to go quite that far, but I've been really working on a couple specific things in my form that is really increasing my accuracy and my distance. You might be able to spot those watching this video, but the back 9 of the course out here at Woodland Park, I'm actually going to be shooting a separate video totally breaking down those form changes, what I'm working on, what's working, and maybe what might work for you as well. So make sure to check that one out. That'll be coming out real soon. All right, so here are our 3 buzzes. We have our neutral yellow ESP buzz right here about pin high, and then down here almost on top of each other actually, our flippier buzz and our overstable Z buzz. This was our first shot, so this is what we're going to be playing from in terms of keeping score. But interesting to see all 3 of these discs kind of pretty close spread, and they got there very different ways, but that does still kind of show the stability difference. So see what we can't do. A little 50-footer. Let's give it a little stepper. Drop, 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 drop. Oh, over the hill. That's gonna be a little tester actually for the par. That does drop off. It's a little uphill 15-footer, save par. Yep. Okay, keeps us even. That means though, we have to go perfect through these next 3 to get to our goal 3 down. Thankfully, they're gettable. Hole 7, par 3, 140 to the elevated pin, dead straight ahead. A lot more side on this left-hand side. So I think we're just gonna flick a little zone out there, get it to skip in. Oh, do I flip the berg? Maybe I flip the berg. I have been enjoying this on the forehand a lot more. And then I can just kind of skip into those trees and sit. I don't have to be quite as touchy with it. That's where this disc is a little bit of a crutch. I know some players don't like it for that reason. I think Broderick made a whole video on that, kind of trashing on the berg for being a crutch, but alas, you know, when you're at my skill level, you kind of need the crutch. So we're gonna take it, little flick. We gotta get this one to keep 3 down alive. Oh, well, I parked the blue. Oh my gosh, that was horrible. Okay, we absolutely pinned the blue basket. Unfortunately, we're playing to the red. So we do have a little outside of circle stepper to an elevated basket on a little bit of turn. Oh, what on earth was that? Redemption with the berg. No, 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 no. Hole 8 to the red, 212. Hey, an ace keeps us in it. Let's go to the zone, get it wide and high. See if we can't put this in. Oh my gosh, we yanked that way right and juiced it. I do not have my power dialed right now. All right, we're playing from that first shot, the zone shot, just for score, try and keep it there. So we got a really long look, definitely makeable. Oh, hook up. Oh, just short, it's close. Maybe it's a jumper the whole time. Nope. Okay, another par, keeps us even. So as we clean up this par on 8, let's talk about a couple things that we're learning during this round, because this hole's kind of a good example. With my old bag, I would have been really between an envy, a proxy, a berg, is a zone, the inner core's been in and out. There's been a lot of different discs I could have thrown on this shot. And that, not having that decision to make, stepping up and being like, oh, this is a zone, or this is an envy, especially between the envy and the proxy. That's really the example here, because those two discs, while different, I can get the straight proxy flight out of that baseline envy for me. Not having as many decisions to make does make it easier. Now, obviously the results aren't coming out here today, and that's largely, I think, just because of my form change and I'm just not playing that great. But one big positive takeaway, I am getting a lot more distance with that simple form change. So excited to tell you more about that. But I do think this experiment has maybe kind of brought me over to the other side of maybe there is something to more minimalism if you actually want to play well and score well. Hole 9 in the last hole of this experiment, 229 straight up the hill to the red basket. We're gonna go with our soft envy, our straight envy, maybe even try and put it to the left on a little bit of turn and just drift it right in there. See if we can at least end one down. Well, I pulled it. Get stable. It's not going to, that's the point. It's a straight envy, so not a great shot. I mean, once again, if I was confident in the forehand, just feels like that's pretty obvious. Nice long uphill jump putt to end the round. Birdie's still in play, come on. Get under it. Oh, just about as bad as the drive. Yeah, and again. All right, we'll tap that in. We'll make the par. That's gonna end our round, our experiment out here. We're sitting even, so we didn't hit the 3-down goal, but still a very informative challenge. I have to say, playing with this smaller bag, reduced number of discs, only 12 molds, I think I actually like it. I think I'm gonna keep the bag as is. I might play around with a couple more things, but overall, I think I'm kind of sold on more minimalism. It really takes a lot of the decision making, a lot of the second guessing out of the process. And I think once I get the form more consistent, will absolutely help me play better. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Appreciate you guys hanging out and watching. My name is Andrew Wood, and remember, the journey is the destination. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.